Welcome to everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar about Sentinel-2. That's the second part of the Sentinel-2 imagery. Sentinel, it's an Earth observation mission. There are satellites roaming around the world. They are taking a picture of the world every 10 days, more or less, and they are using 14 different bands. Depending on the bands, between 10-meter resolution per pixel up to 70-meter resolution per pixel. It's free and open for everyone. Those are the 13 bands that are taken every time. So almost every 10 days they will take a picture, but sometime every 4 days, and we are going to see exactly when the satellite take the picture. So depending on the bands, the wavelength, you will have a better water visibility or land visibility. Combining those bands, you will have different type of picture. When you need to download Sentinel imagery, the first thing what you have to do, it's log in on the Sentinel Hub web page. You can log in. It's not free, but the first month, it's a free probation time. And after 1 month, either you log in with a different email or you pay. I do it every month. It works fine. So there is no problem. They don't ask you any credit cards. So you can do it every month. It's a little bit not practical, but it works fine. So this is, like you could see, I did it already several times. Now is this one. I log in. If you don't have the login, you have to register, then you will get a confirmation email. You click on the confirmation email and you can log in. It's a very normal process to log in on Sentinel. Once you log in, you will have this mask. You can see I have a trial account. I still have 11 days for free. After that, I will do it with a different email. So the first thing what you will have to do is to go to configuration utility. You will have this page, and you can create a new configuration. The new configuration is actually a collection of band combination. We have seen in the previous workshop the simple band combination, but in this case, we are going to have more complex band combination. So as a site planner, we are mainly interested on water because, especially for Syria, we want to see which part of Syria is going to be flooded or wet or not. That's why we can call this a new configuration. Let's say I call it wetness. I call it wetness, but you can give any type of name. And then you go and create configuration, and you will have that. So on this configuration, you can add layers, and each layer is a combination of bands. Like you have seen, you have simple bands, and you will see we have more complex bands. You go to add new layer, and here you can choose, clicking on that, the type of layer that you want to combine. Here you have all the bands, and as well you have the, let's say, the simple band combination. When I speak about simple band combination, it's just band 1 plus band 2 plus band 3 plus band 4, like that. And it's always good to have, as a simple band combination, the true color. True color is actually the image that you would see if you sit on the satellite. You have 4 types of true color. Just click one of that. Automatically, you will get the script. You don't need to read the script. You click on Select Product, and the true color band combination is going to be, let's say, included, and you can just write the name of the layer, true color. So you have already created, and you click OK. The rest here, time range and cloud coverage, is not necessary for the moment. So you click on Save, and you will see you will have one first layer, that true color. Another good band combination, good for site planner, it's called false color. False color, it's a combination that shows the wetness on the water. If you have blue or black, this is water. If you have a red or other color, this is not water. So it's very interesting one for a site planner. And we take this one, false color output components normalize for visualization. And we have a second layer developed. We give the name false color. First color, okay, we have it. And now you see a new layer is being created. But at this point, we want to add bands combination that are much more powerful. And we didn't speak about this combination. Those are more complex scripts. And before adding any other complex combination, I have to open a new site. You will get the link later. This site here, and here you have all the collection of the custom scripts for the bands combination. Here you see you have several types of satellites. What we need to open is the Sentinel-2 satellite, and then you will see a lot of combination. With a lot of combination, you will see the simple bands combination, the popular simple bands, but then you have plenty of other combination. Most of the combinations are created for monitoring the vegetation, the crop, but we are not interested in the crop. We are more interested on water. That's why we go down. We can see that we have combinations that are detecting the clouds. We have combinations that are detecting snow and glacier. We are not interested in that. We have an interesting combination that are detecting the fire. And we have combination that are detecting water bodies. A very good band combination is this one, water in wetlands index. This, if you click on this combination, you will receive all the explanation of the combination. You can read how it is developed, how to interpret it. And a lot of details, you know the author, and you can even take contact with the author, and you have some example on that. Good on this combination, it is that everything what is wet, considered wet, is going to be displayed on blue. Now, if it's a lake or it is 3 centimeters of water, it doesn't matter, it is blue. But for us that we are going to install tents or HU, it doesn't matter if it's 1 centimeter of water or 3 centimeters of water. The land is not suitable for tents or shelter when it's flooded. And we know that in that case, we need to do some intervention. So it's important. This is probably the most interesting combination. And where to find the script? You click on download here, and you will get the script. This is the script. No need to read the script. No need to understand the script. But what you need to do is to copy it. Just take a part, right click, select every one, and you can copy it. You copy the script. Now that you have copied the script, you can go back on the Sentinel Hub, and you can add a new layer. We call it wetland, wetland and index. You can give whatever name you want. And here, now different, you don't have to choose the bands combination here, but you click it here. Right click, and you say paste. That's it. And that's done. And now you have another layer. Another interesting combination, it's the natural color combination. This is like the true color, but somehow much better. I have to find it. It is this one. I went through all those combinations. I could understand, I could realize that the natural color combination is much better than the true color. And the script, like you see, is as well much more complex. So the same process here, you can read the explanation of this combination, and here on download, you take the script. You see, this time is a big script. Again, no need to understand the script. You select everything, you copy it, you go back on your Sentinel Hub, you add a new layer, and you write in the name of the layer, and you click here, you paste it, and that's it. And we have it. Okay, now in our configuration, we have 4 layers. The configuration is called wetness, and we have these 4 layers. Perfect. And this is all what you have to do. Of course, if you are interested on fire, you go on fire. If you are interested on vegetation, you take combination for the vegetation, and so on. And that is all what you need to do with this Sentinel Hub. Now we want to have automatically displayed on qGis. I open qGis, and I have prepared a file on qGis where I have already my sites in Syria. It's a file projected in metric projection UTM-46. I prepared a document on qGis where I have, let's say, several sites in Syria, and I have some background map, OpenStreetMap, for example. Here we have a Etimlet site, for example, in Suran directorate area. Now, the first thing that you have to do is to install the plugin. To install the plugin, you go on Plugin, Manage and Install Plugin. Okay, so you write here Sentinel, and you will see that you will find Sentinel Hub, and you install it. I have it already installed, so I don't need to install it. Once you install Sentinel Hub plugin, you will receive one new icon, this one, or you can find it here on the web, and Sentinel Hub is the same. So what to do? Now, if you click on the icon, and you need a client ID and a client secret, and we don't have it. To do that, we have to go back on our internet. We go back on dashboard, under user setting. You click on user setting. Okay, I go back. So you go back on your Sentinel Hub. It was this one, where you have your configuration, wetness, with the 4 layer. This time you go to user setting. On user setting, you will find your names, everything. And here you need to go on AUX client. You click on plus, and you write, for example, qGis plugin. It's a name that you can just invent. Click on client credential and create client. And you will get this, your secret. That's a secret number. It will be displayed only once. You have to copy it somewhere, because it will not going to be displayed again. So you copy it, you go back on qGis, and you paste this client secret over there. Then you go back on qGis, and you paste this secret number over there. Now what you need is the client ID. You go back on internet. Now here you see that we have created one out client, and we have this ID number. You have to copy this ID number. You copy it, and you go back on qGis, and you paste it. Now you have entered your client ID and your client secret.
So sorry, Andrea, to interrupt, but this is just for one-time process, yeah? Once you until you
for 1 month.
Oh, for 1 month. Okay,
for
so every
month.
trial version.
Exactly, and then next month you have to do it again. But for 1 month you can do it as many times as you want. And if you open qGis next time, this secret and this client ID will be there saved. So no need to do the process every time. So it's practical. So now if we did everything fine, you click on login, and if everything is fine, you should have below logged in as Andrea Cippa. That's me. Maybe a tip, if you are working with 2 screens, it's good to take this plugin separately, you see, like that, separate, so that you can open it bigger, and you can play around. Okay, I cannot use two screens now. I keep it like it was before. Now you see on this plugin, you have 3 pages. Login that we have done. We go on create. On create, you can choose the configuration, and like you see, automatically the wetness configuration appears. And the wetness configuration is the configuration that we have just created together. And in this configuration, you have 4 layers. You have false color, natural color, true color, and wetland index. Definitely, if you would have add another layer, let's say vegetation or snow or whatever you choose, this layer would be as well displayed here. But we have, in that case, 4 layers. Let's take natural color. Here you have the projection. Choose the projection, which is standard 3857. This is a metric projection. I've tried to play around with the UTM projection. It was not working, but with this projection, metric projection, it works. Now, let's make it a little bigger. So I do it bigger. I'm sorry, the screen will be smaller, but then here you see, you have the calendar. And here you have the cloud coverage. And here you have the date. So now let's see, for example, the imagery of the natural color of one site. Let's go to Etemlat site. This is Etemlat site. Okay, Etemlat site. Let's see what was the situation in January regarding Etemlat site. You see the calendar here. You have a brown, you have colored days. It means on those days you have a picture. You see, it's more than every 5 days, every 3, every 4 days. But down there you have the cloud coverage. So it means also the picture with only clouds are going to be displayed. If I decrease the cloud coverage, you see, picture disappears. If I want only picture with no cloud, I have only one. But for me, I would like to have as many pictures as possible because the area is good. And if I am lucky, maybe the cloud is not over Etemlat. So I can do the analysis of Etemlat camp. So let's take, for example, the situation in January, natural color on the 15th of January. You click here. You can as well put a time range and then select the last cloud coverage, but I prefer to say specific days. So I click on use exact day, and I just click on the 15th. I click on create, and I see, theoretically, here below here you see something moving. You need to give the time to the internet to download the imagery from the satellite server. It takes some time. Okay, now you see Etemlat site at that day, how it was looking, like that. Interesting. And we can, we wait a little bit more. And as a reference, I give you an image from the drone from the same site in the same period. 1 second. Okay, this is the site. It is a natural color, very strange color. You might ask why it looks like that, but if you look at the picture from the drone, this is the site during those periods. You see, now you see the site?
Yes, yes,
okay.
Andrea.
Perfect. Now you see, this is the site. That's why it looks like that, because this site was recently improved. It was raised from the soil about 50 centimeters because all around is flooded. Now I want to see how was the flooding situation at that day. Now I change, no more natural color, but I go to wetland index. Wetland index shows, like I was telling you, water or no water. If I have 3 centimeters, 1 centimeter of water, or just mud, it will be blue. If it's dry, it will be a different color. So let's take the same date. Let's choose wetland, the date, and create again. We wait a little bit. I take away, and you see how was the flooding situation at that day. All this area was flooded or wet. This was dry, was flooded. So we have some water here, and on the south, part of the site is flooded. Interesting. Now let's see another date. Let's see, for example, the 21 of January of this year. How was the flooding situation of this site? The 21 of January, 22, sorry, the 22 of January. Again, wetland. Probably the natural color is the same. Okay, this is the flooding of the 22. A little bit different. If we compare, it was less flooded. This is the 22. You can see the layer created. And this was the 15. Big difference. Okay, let's see another date. Let's see, for example, the 25 of January. How was the situation on 25 of January? Okay, now we're at the 25 of January. You see, different situation again. So doing like that, you can add as many layers as you want and kind of monitor and try to understand how the area is going to be flooded. This is now an existing site, has been already improved, but if the site is new, this analysis is very important so that you know that in the past the site was flooded or no. And I show you, for example, let's take the flooding situation, of the same site last year before the improvement. When I speak about last year, I say, for example, December 19. So I changed the date, December 19. Okay. So here again, you have the color dates where a picture was taken. And let's take the 7th, for example, to see. We create on the 7th, but this time I want to see not the wetland, but again, the natural color. It was before the implementation of the site. So again, date, natural color, we create. It takes some time. It works. Okay, you see the site is completely different. It was not upgraded. This is last year. It was already an, let's say, spontaneous IDP site, but not upgraded. And this is now. So you can already follow up the development of one site through this method. Take some time again. So you see now, and you see 1 year ago. Big difference. But let's see the flooding 1 year ago before the increasement of the soil. So we say on the 7, and this time we go on the wetland index again. The 7, create. I put it here again. You see, at that time, the lower part was already flooded, but big part of the site was as well flooded. And if you look at the natural color picture, this part was even not used as a land for shelter because obviously it was wetland and it was as well flooded. You can see the flooding like that. So this is a very creative way to identify the spots that are flood prone or not flood prone. And now let's go to another area. If you might remember, last week there was a big flooding in area in northwest Syria. Let's move to this big area of the big flooding. We zoom to the layer. Okay. Okay, this is the area. Let's make a note. That's the area where we were reporting a lot of flooding here. And let's have a look what was the situation last week in this area. Take OpenStreetMap again. And let's take the wetland of the 15th of January, this January. You see the date here. Take some time again. You see, it was really dangerous situation. Almost everywhere it was flooded. What you see blue is wet. What you see in color is not wet. But you can see that most of the area is flooded. In such cases, doing drainage, I would say it's almost impossible because everywhere is flooded, everywhere is wet. The area obviously is flat. And the only way to mitigate this situation is to rise the soil of the camp. But not always you are lucky. If I want to see, for example, the situation of this area, let's say 21, today, now February 21, in February, I don't have any picture. Of course, we are the second only, that's why. But in general, let's see the situation on the 30th of January, where the big flooding was announced. Let's go first on the, not wetland, but on the natural color. Okay, it's here. Take away this one. And we wait a little bit. It's always, with one screen, it's always a bit complicated. And we see we have a big problem. It was actually such a bad weather that everywhere it was cloud. So no way to make the analysis or the picture when it is clouded. You see, so in this area, unfortunately, you cannot do anything. You cannot take any information out of it. It's simply white. This is a little bit the limitation when you work the system. If the weather is bad, you have no chance to see through the clouds. But still, maybe if you would have a site somewhere here, you could see the situation. And if the 30th of January is not working well, let's try the 25. How it is situation on the 25. Situation on the 25. Let's see if we can get some information on the 25th of January. Take some time. Okay, here it's clear. So here we don't have clouds. Perfect. Let's analyze one site, which was flooded last week. This one, for example. We don't have clouds. Perfect. Okay, good. I'll go this site. Now, let's see how it was flooded. Wetland index, 25. Create. You see, it was only partially flooded, only here, but the sites seems to be dry. The same for this site here, seems to be dry. But other sites, which are not probably, this one probably was flooded. Now I don't have the boundary of all the sites, unfortunately, but that's a way to identify in advance if the site is safe or not. Yuptar, if you remember when we were working together in Gambella, Ethiopia, if we would have had access to the Sentinel-2 at that time, you can imagine how many sites and how many mistakes we could avoid, because we could investigate in the past if the area is safe or not, and then explain to the authority the reality. Now, that's true, eh?
That's true, exactly.
It's very important for a site planner to be able to use this tool in advance. And even doing like that, you can understand from where the water is coming. If you linked this analysis with the watershed analysis that shows where the natural stream are going to flow. And I don't have the watershed analysis for this area. Let's go back to ETMNet. We have the watershed analysis, one side done with the global mapper. You have had several workshops about that. We can have the wetland analysis on the 15. Let's take this one again. And then you could better understand from where comes the water, how it goes through the water, and what kind of intervention you need to do on your site in order to protect the site about flooding. Both analysis, of course, together with observation on the field, will help you, will lead you to make a proper drainage system of the area. If you want to change your layer on Sentinel Hub, it is very easy. Just go out, plugin, you go out, you go back on internet, you go back on configuration utility. We click on wetness configuration. We can add a new layer. Let's add, let's say, another layer, a simple one. Let's say we can add, no, let's add a proper one. Let's add a proper layer. Let's add urban area layer. I never tried it. So probably this layer helps you to identify urban area compared to, let's say, natural area. You read the specification, you go to download again, you take the script, you copy it, then you go back on the dashboard here, you paste the script, okay, and you call it urban area. Okay, you save it. Now you see you have one new layer. Now you go back to your qGis. You click again on the Sentinel plugin icon. Automatically, you see your client ID and your client secret is displayed. You log in, and my name should appear. Yes, it appears. And now, again, I go here on my configuration wetness, but this time I choose urban area. You see, the new layer urban area appears. You go on create. Sorry, it's here. It's urban area. Let's see if it works. Not all configuration works, I've realized. And I've never tried urban area. It's a pity that I choose one, but most of them work. That's strange that it doesn't. Of course, no, it doesn't work because probably I didn't choose the date. Okay, let's take the 15 of the 15 again. Now I have chosen the date, create. Let's see if it works now. It seems that urban area doesn't work. But anyway, what I wanted to show is that you can add as many layers as you want, and then they will be automatically included on your configuration. If I want to make a report and I want to show to the authority or to any other person the situation of my site in terms of flooding, let's take the wetland index on the 15. Okay. This is not a nice looking maps. The pixels are of bad quality. I think it's around 10 to 30 meter size. So what I can do, I can download the map, sorry, the flooding area, and make it smooth for representation. Again, this time I go again on the 15. I go on wetland, but I don't click anymore create, but I click on download. I want to download this flooding area. So I go on download mask, current view, and I give a folder. Fine. It will take not that much time. I download it. And as soon as you have the green, this is downloaded. Now I can open this downloaded layer, the floating area, with another software, Global Mapper. Now you see Global Mapper. I have the right projection, UTM 37 North. I open the layer that I was downloading previously on temporary folder. It's this one, wetland of the 50, this one. This is my area that I was downloading. You can see all the flooded area around here, some clouds, and my AtomNet site. And I want to vectorize the flooded area. So what I do, I right-click on this layer. I go on layer and create area feature from equal value. And here I choose the color that I want to vectorize with I pick the color from the map, the blue. Okay, okay. And now you see I have vectorized my flooded area. But still, it looks awful. And you will never have a realistic flooding looking like that. That's why I do this layer smooth. I right-click on the newly created layer. I right-click on it. I select the layer. Now with the mouse, I go over the layer, I right-click on it, and I go on Move, Reshape, and I make Smooth. Voila. Deselecting. Now you can see it looks much more smooth, much more realistic. Now I export this layer. I'm going File, Export, Vector as a shapefile. It's an area. I export it somewhere again on my temporary folder. I call it flooding on the 21.01.15 AtomNet site. Okay, that's it. Now I have exported. Now I go back on my qGis. I don't need the plugin anymore. Now I am back on my qGis. I don't need the plugin anymore. I don't want that anymore. I want maybe a background map. The satellite looks better, even if it's not updated. And now I can import my flooding layer. To import, you just go to here, add the Open Data Source Manager. I go on my temporary folder on the desktop. It was called flooding, this one, AtomNet shape, this one. Okay, okay, everything seems to be fine. Okay. Voila. Why it is not appearing? Aha, here I have my flooding. I don't know why it's not appearing over the orthophoto. That's strange. But nevertheless, now this doesn't look very nice as well. So I can do it a little bit better. I click on that. Now I do it blue, like water. Flooding is never blue, but I don't want any pen, blue. And then I do it as well transparent, like that. Now I can, out of that, develop my, it's a pity, it doesn't, strange. It should be below, for some reason it's not below this orthophoto, but now you can develop your map and you can show to the authority, to the implementing partner, to people interested, the extent of the flooding on the 15th of January in a kind of more realistic matter. And this will help the implementing partner and will help you to understand where you need to do mitigation measure. In this case, you need to do mitigation measure on the lower side of the site. And that's it. As you see, it is not that difficult. It's possible to do that. Thank you for your time. Thank you very much, Sahid, for sharing all these perimeters, and Assam for the interpretation.